I'm back. So, in part one of this video, I talked about the issues that I've been having with iron and B12 deficiency and how my internal medicine specialist believes that that is actually partially due to my surgery. Not that anything was wrong with the surgery, it's just that I had bariatric surgery, and partially due to the high dosage of PPIs that I take for acid reflux. PPI being a proton pump inhibitor, so things like Nexium, Prilosec. There's probably a bunch more that I can't think of, but you can look it up. Google it if you're interested in what the brand names of some of those drugs are. So the story is I have been taking a proton pump inhibitor type drug of one variety or another ever since I had surgery over 5.5 years ago. Before surgery, I really only ever had a problem with heartburn or reflux when I was pregnant. And then every once in a while, if I overate or ate super late at night or ate really spicy food, like a lot of people have. And my doctor, Dr. Aceves, my surgeon, did tell me that, VSG is a surgery where if you have reflux, or you don't have reflux, to be honest, there's 3 options. It could get worse, it could get better, or it could stay the same. So if you don't have it, you could get it. If you do have it, it could go away. And they really have no way of telling what's going to happen. So I did have that knowledge before I had my surgery, and I just hoped for the best. And unfortunately, I did not get the best. I got kind of the rough end of the pineapple on this one. I did have reflux issues, and they have been consistently getting worse as time goes on. And I would say the last year to year and a half, they've gotten really bad. I don't know exactly why they've gotten worse. Partially, who knows, like stress, I'm not sure. I do know I had an upper GI done, so I had a scope. There's nothing wrong with my stomach, my esophagus, everything is good. So the good news is there's no damage from it. There's also no reason that they can specifically find for it. So likely it just has to do with the size of my stomach, and then I just overproduce acid. So how bad is it? If I do not take, so I take 80 milligrams of Nexium in the morning. If I do not take that by probably 11 a.m., I can feel it right away. By lunchtime, I already have heartburn. And if I do not remedy that situation by taking something else, I'm screwed for the rest of the day. I will not be able to sleep at night. Even when I take it the next day, it only somewhat works because it doesn't actually treat the acid or reduce the acid when you take it. It actually prevents you from producing acid. So if you don't take it regularly, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So no fun. So it's, as I said, it's been getting worse, definitely the last probably year and a half. So outside of it being very uncomfortable and having to control it with drugs, there have been a number of studies done recently that show links to taking PPIs long-term and higher incidence of dementia, which I do not need. Both of my grandmothers actually had Alzheimer's. With my dad's mom, she actually had what I can only describe as early onset Alzheimer's. She was in her 50s, but she actually lived till her 80s. So she lived long enough for us to be able to see exactly what happens. She didn't probably talk for the last 10 years of her life. The last 5 years, she was basically like a vegetable. I don't want that to be me. And I don't want my family to have to go through that. And I am willing to do anything to avoid that. And I do not want to be taking a drug that's linked to a higher incidence of dementia. I already think I have enough risk as it is. So I've been trying to figure out how I can get off PPIs. And I don't honestly remember how it came up. I think I was just doing some research. But I found out that there are a number of people who have have conversions. I got yelled at by a bariatric specialist or person in the community for calling it a revision. So I know that we all say revision when we mean having a different surgery, but a revision is when you have a change to the surgery that you already had. A conversion is when you have a different surgery. So I found out that if you have a conversion to an RNY, that will actually completely solve the reflux issue. And I definitely not considered having a revision. And I don't know, I think we all think that revision or conversion is a dirty word in the community because we think of it as meaning that you're somehow a failure or what have you. And I don't know, when I first found out about it, I immediately kind of rejected the idea as something I really didn't want to do, didn't want to consider. What is happening with my hair, guys? Humidity. I'm trying to grow this hair. I don't know. It might be time to start wearing wigs. Seriously. Anyway, so Chris and I talked about it. Chris, my husband, I was going to say probably one of the last videos you guys saw was a video I made on our wedding day, and it's almost our first anniversary, but Chris also having had bariatric surgery, we discussed it, and he was very for me having surgery, or at least pursuing the idea of having surgery. And I had some reservations about it, but, and I mean, maybe I'll make a separate video talking about that, but honestly, a lot of them were just things that were like in my head and had nothing to do with what was actually going on. And when I sat down and thought about the facts of, what would happen if I let this reflux continue. So basically my options were, stop taking PPIs and deal with the heartburn. Well, that would be incredibly difficult. And not only that, but that can cause all kinds of internal issues and damage, which then give you a higher risk of gastric and esophageal cancers. Taking PPIs also has apparently also a gastric cancer risk, but especially a risk in long-term use anyway, a risk for, or a greater risk for dementia, unless they come up with some other kind of drug for this situation. I mean, I turned 40 in December. I still have a very long time of having to take these drugs because the reflux is not something that's going to go away magically by itself. So I just decided that I really needed to consider it and at least start the process. So the interesting part is that the province that I live in Canada, Ontario, does cover bariatric surgery as part of our medical coverage. I did not go through that program when I had my original surgery. I was a self-pay patient in Mexico. And I did that for a whole bunch of reasons. And if you go back and watch some of my old videos, I have videos there where I talk about it. So I won't go into all that now. But the point is I did not go through the program here in Ontario. So now that I am trying to pursue a conversion, I actually have to start at the beginning of the bariatric program. So I had to start with getting a referral from my doctor to the bariatric program. I then have a seminar or a workshop presentation thing that I have to go to that's like 2 or 3 hours long on October 15th, which talks about all the different types of bariatric surgery and is meant to be informational for people who are exploring bariatric surgery. So I feel like that's going to be kind of funny because clearly I'm going to already know everything that they're talking about, but it's part of the program and I have to do it. And then I believe after that I would have a first appointment consultation with a surgeon, and hopefully I will get to skip some of the other things that are involved in the program, simply because I've already had surgery and done the nutritional component, all that sort of stuff. So that's where I'm at right now. I am actively pursuing having a conversion to an RNY from my VSG because I feel like I need to do something about the reflux. One of the other things that the reflux has greatly affected is my ability to actually maintain my weight. And the reason why is that if I'm having a bad reflux episode, I can really only eat carbs. And that sounds like a cop-out, to be honest, but it's not. Anything else, I just literally can't stomach it. So if I try to eat protein, it makes me feel really ill. I definitely can't eat anything that's like super fibrous, like vegetables or what have you. Carbs are one of the only things I can eat. For a while, when it was really bad and I was having an issue with the medication I was taking, very long story, I literally was subsisting on like Skinny Pop popcorn and coffee. Like that was because popcorn was something I could eat. So yeah, it's definitely thrown things off track. I was pretty happy where I'd gotten to doing sort of a keto type diet before the wedding. And then I would say not right after that, but probably starting at the beginning of this year, I started gaining weight again. And mostly because of the fact that I was having these issues and how it was kind of forcing me to eat and making it really difficult for me to stick to a plan. So it's not an excuse, but it's another reason why I really feel like I need to have this taken care of, because I don't actually find it that difficult to stick to that way of eating, and that's how I'm happiest eating, but it's difficult to do something that physically makes you feel bad. So I'm hoping that pursuing having this conversion surgery will solve the reflux issue and just make it that much easier for me to be able to stay on track. I mean, yes, I definitely have weight that I can lose, so I'm not necessarily worried at this point that I'm going to lose too much weight because I have an RNY. I don't actually think that I will lose that much additional weight just from the RNY, only because my body is like already used to low calories. It's not like the first time I had surgery where it's like a big shock to my system. So I'm sure that I will lose some weight, but as far as I know, conversions, I mean, your weight loss is nothing like, the original surgery. So I'm not really concerned about that. And to be honest, the weight loss part of it is really, it's not even secondary. It's like tertiary. Like, that's great. But I'm more concerned about the long term, and I want to be able to stick to a way of eating that allows me to control my weight a lot better. And I haven't been able to do that because of these complications. So the story is, I will keep you guys updated on what's going on. I think I will probably try and make videos just because I know there must be some videos out there from people who have had conversions, but I haven't had a chance to actually watch any yet. But I thought it might be interesting, again, for anyone who might be in my situation to sort of follow along and see what happens. So I may try and update before October, but if not, I will definitely be back with any updates on how the process is going. They do tell people it takes up to 18 months to have surgery. I have heard from other sources that it really is probably more like 9 months. In some cases, it can be even faster than that. I am hoping that I will have surgery in the spring of 2019, and so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to put that update out there, and hey, cheers to a new journey. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. See you soon. Bye.